This is the Lancer Locker Show on KYNT. Now, let's talk some Mount Marty University athletics with the coaches, as well as your host and the voice of Mount Marty University athletics, Tel Tanner.
Another exciting week for Mount Marty University Lancer athletics. We saw the end of the football season. We saw the beginning of conference season for the Mount Marty basketball teams, and a really big win in there. Today, for the Lancer Locker, I brought in Steve Toom, my usual broadcast partner on Saturdays for the Lancer football team, as well as John Michaletti, the head coach of the Mount Marty University Lancers football program, to recap that football season. It is now done. Football season is in the books for the Mount Marty Lancers. In 2025, they go 4-7 overall, 3-7 in conferences. A few games below last year's mark where they set that first winning record in school history, and year 5 of the program is in the books. A couple of losses late in the year. Turnovers were definitely an issue late. So we spoke with the head coach of the Mount Marty Lancers and John Michaletti once again for this interview. Talked with him a little earlier today, and that interview is coming up next. And it was a long one. We spent a lot of time with him, so let's go ahead and make things quick here. We'll go straight to basketball and then straight to that interview. So the basketball teams, they open up conference slate. The Mount Marty women's basketball team, they suffered their first loss of the year, home loss to number 1 Dort, not just number 1 in the GPAC, number 1 in the country for a reason. They are back-to-back defending national champions who return, I think, 4 of 5 starters. They're going to be good again this year. It was an 80-56 loss in the Simple Arena. The men's basketball team, on the other hand, I think they were picked to finish 8th in the GPAC preseason poll. Dort picked to finish, I think, 3rd. 84-71 win for the Mount Marty Lancers, and they were pretty much holding about a 20-point lead throughout the entirety of the second half. Jumped out to a great lead in that first half, and they take the game, once again, 84-71. The halftime score was 42-28. The Lancers really jumped out to a good win, a good lead right away, and kept it. Jackson Edmond with a great game. 19 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists with 3 blocks in there as well. Sutton Aaron had 4 blocks with 12 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist. 10 assists for Deegan Williams and 10 points. He dropped a double-double on points and assists in the game with another 7 rebounds as well. Deegan Williams was 3 rebounds away from a triple-double in the win. Mount Marty defeats Dort. They move to 1-0 in conference play. So with that, our week in review, let's go ahead and take that break. We'll come back now with the head coach of the Mount Marty Lancers football program, and let's recap this football season. Steve Toom and I sat down with John earlier today. We spent a lot of time going over everything, the full schedule, everything we saw, some players that we wanted to highlight a little bit, recruiting, a potential 5th year blanket for all players. We talked about that. We talked about the schedule next year, off season, everything in between. All coming up on the Lancer Locker on KYNT. John Michaletti in the booth up next.
Hi, I'm Deb Speck with Vision Real Estate. Buying or selling a home can be complicated, but with 20 years of experience, I'm here to put you at ease and make the process as easy as possible. We offer moving boxes and the use of our courtesy trailer to make your real estate journey a smooth one. Call me, Deb Speck, with Vision Real Estate, 605-664-5555.
Beef, pork, seafood, poultry, and more, all at the Meat Lodge in Yankton. Get top quality meats at great prices. They have specialty items like lamb, brisket, bison, mahi-mahi, crab legs, and lobster. They even have non-meat options like Dimmick cheese, pickled items, seasonings, and sauces. The Meat Lodge in Yankton on the way to the lake on Highway 52. For more, call 689-3000 or go to themeatlodge.com.
Now is the perfect time to refresh your home with new styles from Slumberland Furniture. Discover fresh arrivals in home accessories, from cozy throws and accent pillows to stylish poops, wall art, and decor that ties your whole room together. Whether you're giving one space a quick update or reimagining your entire home, Slumberland has the pieces that make it feel brand new. And right now, enjoy 36 months no interest financing. See Slumberland Furniture in Yankton for details.
When First Dakota National Bank created Dakota Mac in 1993, we knew we could offer ag producers something few other banks dared to. Long-term, fixed-rate loans for ag real estate refinances and purchases. Today, we go by Landera, and we provide the same great service. and even more banking options to help your operation thrive for generations to come. Banking evolves. Trust endures. Landera, a division of First Dakota National Bank.
I love 1919 root beer. It's the best over a big scoop of vanilla ice cream. My favorite is just ice cold 1919 poured over crunchy ice. It's so refreshing. It's the creamiest root beer ever.
1919 root beer is the perfect treat. Brewed in small batches with only the finest ingredients. It's the creamiest, full-bodied, alcohol and caffeine-free draft root beer available. It's a taste tradition since, well, 1919.
From the first wails of surprise to first day of school questions, playground adventures, learning to drive stress, and graduation cheers, they'll always be your little sunshine. At Avera Children's, we get kids, teens, and parents too. We'll step you through first checkups, milestones, sickness, and specialized care when your child needs it, and treat them like our own every step of the way. Learn more at avera.org/children's.
All right, back here on the Lancer Locker on KYNT. Now we turn to the head coach of the Mount Marty University Lancers football program in John Michaletti and Steve Toom, also making your Lancer Locker debut. We do this show every week, but I love having Steve on, Steve Toom, the guy that we always call football games with on Saturday. So thank you to both of you for coming in and talking. It's going to be a fun little recap we do here for football.
Yeah, thanks for having us in here, and it's good to sit here with some familiar faces.
Yeah, great to be here and a chance to talk about a wild and crazy season that just had a bunch of up and down moments throughout the entire course of the season, going all the way back to Clark University back in late August, which seems, wasn't that long ago, but it's like, my goodness, that seemed like a long time ago.
Oh my gosh. It was, what day was that? August 30th?
August 30th.
37-22 win you got on the road over Clark, over in Dubuque, Iowa, a long road trip there. Let's turn back the clock and open up with that. The full off-season training coming into that game. You kind of knew who your main characters were going to be at that point, but how do you think they kind of performed in that non-conference game, Coach Michaletti?
Yeah, there was there were some ups and downs in that game, obviously. Some big plays on their offense, finding some busted coverages and things like that, but it was good to get that first. It's always nerve-wracking having an overnight trip, right? Especially when it's something that our team doesn't do a lot. So making sure that we keep them entertained and keep them disciplined on the road, and then making sure that obviously that they're fed correctly, all that stuff to lead up to a game. Shoot, our bus got high-centered in the parking lot of that place, so there's always those adverse situations that cause a little bit fun stories to reflect on. But I love playing other conference opponents. I think it's good to see where our conference is, compared to other conferences. And then as we talked leading into that game, very similar programs. Like they're started a program, I think a year before we started a program. So a good judgment or good parameters on how we are doing against another team in similar shoes.
So, Coach, you just mentioned keeping guys entertained on those long road trips. How many guys do you take on road trips, and how do you keep them entertained overnight in trips like that?
Yeah, I guess our whole travel party is 95. Wow. Obviously, there's going to be, 14 of those or 15 of those are coaches. A couple of those are helpers that are either guys that are hurt or ineligible that are helping with water or helping the trainers out with stuff. We have our trainers in that list as well. So usually right around 70 is 65 to 70 is what we'll travel. And obviously usually the road games that are overnight, you try to trim that down a little bit just to save some costs on beds. And you don't have, I remember when I was doing that as a college player, there'd be 3 in a room and, having the ego not want to share a bed with another one of your players. But so we try to make sure everybody's got their own bed and sleeping comfortably the night before. But yeah, it's hectic to get everybody in, and then you do a truck stop, and you're like, okay, who's going to the bathroom? Marking people off so you don't leave somebody get on a little Home Alone all over again. Leaving Macaulay Culkin behind. So.
Yeah, no kidding. That would be an interesting thing, leaving someone behind at a gas station. I don't even know what just avoid it at all costs.
Avoid it at all costs. We double and triple check. Let's go through it all. It usually makes it quite a bit longer. I remember heading back from Culver the year before. It was a late night because we played a night game, and the bus driver had to go to the bathroom, so he finally had to pull over, and I was like, nobody's getting off this. Nobody's getting off, because I know it's going to be a 2-hour deal if everybody goes in there and has to get a snack of some sort. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
So speaking of non-conference games in general, I doubt maybe you can, I don't know if you can announce like who, what you're doing next year, playing a non-conference game. Can you tell us kind of next year?
It was a 2-year deal with Clark.
There you go.
So they should be coming back. I actually need to talk to Coach Hicks this week to make sure everything on our contract that we signed is still good, because I know they had, was it Mount Mercy joining their conference next year. So, which, talking to a couple of my other buddies that are in that league, I don't think the schedule changed too much for them. I think that they still have an out of conference. So just want to make sure that we're all good by our contract. But yeah, we did sign a 2-year deal, so they should be coming out here for week 0 next year.
And get a home non-conference game. I'm trying to think here. Would that be the first?
Culver 2 years ago.
Yeah, I guess 2 years ago,
Yep.
Culver.
Yeah.
That'd only be the second non-conference home game, though. That'd be nice.
It'd be definitely be nice to. I like playing home games early.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you had a couple of those early. You had 3 of your first 5 games. You win against Northwestern in that home opener as well. So certainly playing well at home.
Yeah, talk about that Northwestern game, because you had the win against Waldorf there to start off the conference season, a cold game over there in Forest City, and then you have to get ready for a big matchup against a team in the top 10 at that particular time. Going into that game, what did you sense as far as the attitude of the team?
Yeah, I mean, you looking at how we were able to lead up to that game and then comparing it to them, I really liked our chances. You know, we do our preseason scrimmage against Dakota State. Obviously, we just talked about going to Clark and then Waldorf. So we've had quite a bit of dress rehearsals and experience going against. And Dakota State ended up being a pretty good team. I think they finished ranked. I know they didn't make the playoffs, but finished right there ranked to receiving votes. Clark being an out-of-conference team, and then Waldorf being an in-conference team, you're slowly starting to level up each week, you know. And then we knowing that we got a big hitter with Northwestern coming, and they only had 1 game before, so we had a little bit more experience going into that game. When both of us lost a lot of seniors the year before, you know, so really liked our chances in that game. That was a good. It was one of our main focuses of the off season, was making sure that we win that first quarter of the season, and that kind of wrapped up the first quarter, was that Northwestern game. So. Yeah, loved our game plan going against it, was being able to get the ball on the edge. Had a lot of success with that. And then defensively, really probably played our best game defensively of the year against them, you know, being able to cause some confusion, get them a little bit irritated. I had to switch quarterbacks at one time, which ended up being for the season for those guys, and really slowing down some of their big shots. You know, they had a couple Yankton guys that went over there too, so being able to allow that to not be a distraction, but allow it to be a little bit more motivation for our guys was a big thing.
And, of course, big celebration after that particular game, but unfortunately, celebration only lasted 1 week, because Briarcliff came in and got the trophy win against you guys. And looking at it, it seemed like a lot of things that went right against Northwestern went wrong against Briarcliff. Talk about the Charger game.
Yeah, that game, you know, obviously Coach Ledagi had a good his team riled up and ready to go, and had some very good players make some big plays and some big moments. But yeah, our luck kind of ran out after that Northwestern game, and you know, it does take a little bit of luck. Obviously, you want talent to override a lot of those things, but yeah, you do need a certain call here and there, or a ball to bounce a certain way. And that day, it seemed to go the other way. And you know, I think reflecting on that, there was a lot of mindset things that we could have done differently leading into that week. And one of those things I as a head coach, I fault myself for, you know, maybe talking about it too much. You know, like, guys, we need to do this better, or this will happen. And now those guys in game, when things weren't going our way, that was the first time all season we were down at any point. It was right away to Briarcliff when they got up on their first touchdown. So being able to handle those moments better, and then not using that as a way out. You know, Coach said that, you know, we might not win this game if we didn't practice well this week, and well, we're just not going to win the game now because we didn't practice well this week. You know, there's still opportunity to right your wrongs and on those Saturday afternoons.
Got to give Briarcliff credit. They had one heck of a season as well. It wasn't just like a one-game wonder for them. They end up 6-5 in one of their best seasons ever. That's going to be a game in Sioux City next year as you go to try to get that Catholic Cup.
Yeah, no, they actually come back.
Oh,
yeah, they switched up the conference schedule, so
all right,
we will have to go back to Waldorf again, unfortunately. So be prepared to call a game from the stands again. And then being able to have Briarcliff and Dakota Wesleyan actually come back so we get both those traveling trophy games back at home again next year.
Hey, they're coming back to Yankton already. You just got to keep them there.
Exactly.
That's pretty nice. All right. So going back to the second half of the season, then the matchup with number 19 Concordia, he did end up falling in that one by 9. It was a weird start to the game.
Holy cow!
It was a weird start to the game. Kind of ended up almost spotting them 10 points, and then it was pretty even from that point on. So what were some of the messages to the team after that of we got to start faster?
Yeah, exactly that. It's you can't wait for the opponent. You can't wait to see, I always seem to make boxing references, but to see, how those haymakers are going to feel when you get them against the ropes. But, you don't want to start throwing your best stuff when you're against the ropes or if you're in a corner. So, being able to maturely handle these situations better, because very good teams in the GPAC week in and week out, and you can say that every year, and if not more than this year. There was a lot of those middle teams beating each other, and you had Doane beat Midland early in the year, us being able to beat Northwestern. There was quite a bit of different guys winning this year. So things are starting to level off in the GPAC, which is good, but you got to make sure there's more focus in there, because there isn't those guys that you can just overlook and show up and just win just because who you are.
We'll fast forward through the next couple of games. You go beat Doane down in Crete, 31-14. Dort, Hastings, a couple of close games in there. Let's focus on Dakota Wesleyan and that Dakota Railroad rivalry. And as you said, coming back to Yankton next year. Yep. And one of the craziest things about this game, 3 years in a row, these two teams have gone to overtime, Coach. That is wild when you talk about just how much fun, as a fan of football, this matchup has been.
Yeah. It's those are definitely the fun ones. They're a little bit more fun when you come out on top.
Right.
But the awesome rivalry that it's becoming. I know it's been there way longer before our football team even was here, but being able to add a little bit more to it, I think football seems to do that with rivalries. So, having the only 2 South Dakota teams in the GPAC, having a lot of former teammates playing each other. Myself and Coach Kretschmar used to be able to coach together, coaching against each other. Our former quarterback from year one's now up there, coaching their quarterback. So there's a lot of familiar faces and things like that add to the rivalry. But in the end, I think there's still a lot of love between that in a positive way as well. So I know Coach Kretschmar and I were able to hug after the game and wish him congrats and all that stuff. But that's the number one thing kind of pushing us forward into this year. That's something we talk about a lot as a staff, and I take rivalries very seriously and very competitive person, so being able to beat them in recruiting, beat them in everything we do, beating them how we brush our teeth in the morning and all that stuff. So very eager to get back to that one.
Coach, I want to talk about rivalries because obviously we knew Dakota Wesleyan was going to be a rivalry given the history of the schools and many other different sports and localities. But I think obviously Briarcliff has turned into a good rivalry and Hastings has turned into a really good rivalry considering the games that have been played over the last several years. And I think it's a quite an accomplishment for a program in 5 years. It's like, hey, we've got 3, maybe 4 teams that we get fired up when we play these guys, and there's good football games being played out on the field. I think that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think you probably add Midland into that too.
I forgot about Midland, but unfortunately,
couple how those go.
Yeah, I mean, considering the close games, unfortunately, didn't go this way this year to clear it out. But obviously, they turned out really well for that game, and just hearing in the fans, they were fired up. They wanted that win, considering the last couple of seasons that we've knocked them off. And I think if you can establish rivalries where it's like, hey, the fans are fired up for this game, the media is talking because, of the close games that are being played, to do that in 5 years, from my perspective, I think it's a great accomplishment.
I appreciate that. And it goes, obviously way beyond myself. It has a great staff and guys that want to buy into something bigger than themselves. When you want to talk about our players and all that, it's not easy to pick a program that has nothing, no tradition, nothing, they didn't have a season, and then being able to, these seniors were the ones that committed to a team that went 0 for their first year, so seeing something down the road and like I said, those guys buying into something bigger than themselves. And really those guys are starting to see that now. And that's one of my favorite things is being able to reflect with some of those older guys, whether it's guys that graduated and are still following the program, or guys like Jose Garcia and things like that are graduating now that just have so much love and respect for their team. And I know they're going to continuously find success within their lives because of the things that they've accomplished here.
And that's something else I want to talk about is your conditioning. I hate using the word grooming, but grooming young men to be responsible in their lives after football, in their communities, in their families, in their endeavors, in their jobs. And there's so many lessons to learn on the football field, in practice, traveling to games, seeing the leadership. And sometimes when you're on a losing streak, it brings out the leadership in guys. And I just wanted to ask you about that. You had a few losses there to end the season, but sometimes that reveals, hey, here's a leader that we can build around. Do you see that in some of the guys that are coming back next year?
Yes. We were lucky to have a few of the guys that were elected captain this last year, which I allow our team to pick who they want to have representing them. And a lot of those were juniors, Isaac Crownover, Jackson Walholtz, those guys were two captains that, kind of worked their way up to. And Crownover made a bunch of plays as a freshman and a sophomore, but Walholtz really didn't play much until this year. So guys buying into him, and it seems, at least reflecting when I played, people always wanted to pick guys that were, the best player, to be the leader. And realistically, that's not always it. It's the guys that work to where they are at, and then continuously set the example from work ethic and how they do everything in their day-to-day basis. Because as we all know, you can't just turn it on and off success. It's got to be in the classroom. It's got to be within the community. It's got to be within your relationships, and it's got to be within football and everything you do. And there's some very bright young men coming back that I think will fill those holes of James Brinsley and Jose Garcia, some of our other captains that they had, and hopefully we can talk Kyle Hirsch into coming back for one more year, and he's the other captain that we had. So
we're going to talk a lot more about some individual players and maybe some recruiting, a potential fifth-year guys coming up, all on the Lancer Locker. We got to get one more break in here for a moment. We'll come back with more with Steve Toom and John Michaletti. I'm Tel Tanner. You're listening to the Lancer Locker on KYNT.
Sherco, the industry leader in tarping, has done it again with the release of the all-new Sherlock E-Series electric tarp. The E-Series features fully assembled front and rear arms, a pre-wired sealed control box, and Sherco's exclusive smart wire sealed harness for quick and easy installation. Operate the E-Series with the SureLink EZR remote or by your smartphone using the SureLink app. Add more time to your day with the Sherlock E-Series. To learn more, contact your authorized Sherco distributor or find us at Sherco.com. Demand the best. Demand Sherco.
Brad's mind is blown.
Just found out I can add any kind of cheese to my Runza sandwich. Swiss, American, pepper jack.
You're in charge of the cheese.
I'm my own man now.
The big cheese.
Gonna start making my own decisions.
The chief chooser of cheese.
Yes, please.
So much power. Get your next Runza sandwich made to order. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
Those are the sounds of loyal companions looking for a new home and family. The Heartland Humane Society has dogs and cats looking to become a new member of your family, ready for adoption today. Every animal available for adoption is vaccinated, spayed or neutered, microchipped, and dewormed, saving you over $200 or more in vet care while giving you a loyal friend. Come visit all available animals at 3400 East Highway 50 Yankton or online at heartlandhumanesociety.net.
Looking for fuel or more? Stop by Triple Time Rudy's, your locally owned convenience store at 17th and Broadway. At Triple Time Rudy's, they're proud to support the community, offering fuel discounts to Yankton's largest employers and backing local activities and events. Inside, you'll discover regional favorites like Dimmick Cheese and premium meats from the Kaler and Renner lockers. Whether it's a quick snack, a tank of top-quality fuel, or a taste of local goodness, Triple Time Rudy's, fueling your day, fueling the community.
Small businesses are the backbone of our community. CoreTrust helps your business thrive with checking, online bill pay, small business loans, credit card processing, local approval and support for government grants and loans, investments to grow your hard-earned assets, and insurance to protect them. all from Core Trust, the community bank that's right down the street and everywhere you want us to be. Visit coretrustbank.com today.
Member FDIC.
A big thank you from Mount Marty University to one of Yankton's greatest employers and friend of the community, Aztec. They're very proud to support the Mount Marty Lancers. The vision at Aztec is to build industry-changing solutions that create life-changing opportunities. And you can build a career with the group that's built to connect from rock to road. Click careers at aztecindustries.com. Best wishes, Mount Marty, from your friends at Aztec.
All right, back here in the Lancer Locker on KYNT, I'm Tel Tanner along with Steve Toom. Welcome in John Michaletti, the head coach of the Mount Marty Lancers, once again, as we were talking about our NFL teams during the break there. I'm a Broncos fan. I'm happy. Steve's an Eagles fan. He's happy. And Coach Micheletti's a Bears fan, grew up in the Chicago area. He hasn't been happy throughout the history of his fandom of the Bears, but good year this year. That's nice.
Can't complain with that, and it's weird none of our Vikings fans have stopped in to say anything to me today.
Ooh, there you go. So let's get back to kind of recapping Mount Marty football season. We kind of just went through the schedule and everything. Let's go through some personnel and kind of the guys that really help everything work. Let's start with your coaching staff here. I want a grade. Give me a letter grade of how these guys performed this year.
Oh, A+. They make my job so much easier, and they've all. One thing I try to do is always observe and then make changes. I don't think it's always right to keep everything the exact same because we all evolve as people and we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and especially with the GA program that we have with. They're on for 2-year contracts and stuff like that. Those guys are going to be good at different things as well. So constantly being able to juggle those guys around and move them to new positions, for instance, having Coach Weeblehouse take over the offensive line in a very tough year, a year that a whole new, 5 new faces up there or more, because we had a few injuries with some other guys stepping up. So, all those guys did an exceptional job. I forever indebted to those GAs, especially. They work long hours. They're usually in before all of us and scrubbing jerseys, whatever it may be, but then also they have to run their room, so it's probably not one of their most joyous times of, switching from 3 hours of scrubbing off eye paint and blood or whatever's on the jerseys, and then I got to prep for a meeting in 20 minutes and be able to run that. But those guys are going to be very successful coaches, and excited to follow their journey as well.
Maybe my favorite thing with your coaching staff is how it's grown over the last 5 years. From year one of Mount Marty football, how many full-time coaches did you have on the staff in that 2021 year?
Let's see, I had 3 and 2 GAs.
Yeah, so 5 total, and what'd you have, 18, including GA and strength staff this year?
Yep.
That is insane growth, and that really shows the growth of the program in general. So what are some of next steps with this?
It shows, a couple things is, obviously the buy-in. When you have Patrick Perkins, Coach P, Tyrell Klein, Jacob Lambeth, Trevor Fitzgerald, Rex Reichen, guys that played here and don't want to leave. They want to keep making the place better. I think it shows a lot. But also the administration and the institution together of how can we continuously help this program and make sure we're competing to the best ability and making sure that we can give the golden standard. So just lucky enough to be in the position and be around good people, but also have good people ahead of me that continuously want to invest into this program to make sure it's better.
Talk about organization. Obviously, when the coaching staff, it's kind of has to be kind of almost militaristic.
Yeah.
You got your sergeants and your junior officers and stuff like that. So your assistant coaches, grads. So obviously, organization is a big thing. A lot of things got to be prepped out ahead of time. So talk about how things are organized among the responsibilities of your assistant coaches and your GAs.
Yeah, they always make fun of me because our first day of the staff, there's an 18-page staff manual that we go through and we read word for word. So they always be like, "Oh, that's page 9, section 4."
But it's things you got to do.
You got to do, and it's easy to make sure. And even those new guys that just got done playing for me, they don't really, and they were like, "Holy cow, coach! I didn't know this much went into coaching." But yeah, definitely got a lot of people doing different things, but. Starting off, Coach Lewis being our offensive coordinator, offensive play caller, Spends a lot of times with the quarterbacks, as I think most offensive coordinators probably should. The guy that touches the ball every time, want to make sure that they're on the same page. I already mentioned Coach Wiebelhaus doing offensive line, and his assistant, Sam Guess, is a GA. Moved him over from D-line last year over to O-line this year. And I always like doing that with grad assistants as well for their next job. Hey, I'm well-versed. I could coach on either side of the ball, and really opens them up for a lot more opportunities. Coach Zook, I moved to running backs this year. He also did was our special teams coordinator. Coach Reichen was our tight ends and receivers. Coach Fitzgerald was just receivers. Let's see here. Coach Perkins moved to superback, which obviously he played O-line. So everybody's like, well, what are you doing there? But once again, it's about making people more versatile and understanding more of that stuff. And obviously he knows the blocking schemes of everything because he did it for 4 years. But I don't know if he knew the concepts and the stuff that was going on behind him. So I wanted him to make sure that he learned that and did an excellent job with the superbacks. I call the defense, and I have Coach Heck as my right-hand man as the co-DC. He handles more of the defensive backs. Coach Ludeman was the second year here as a grad assistant, did our outside linebackers. Coach Lambeth did our inside linebackers. And then Coach Sorensen and Coach Klein did our defensive line. So a lot of those guys being able to, share a room is tough too because everybody wants to be the one talking. But, and that's one thing I challenge those guys on a lot is making sure that whatever's being presented is confident and making sure it's well thought out and thorough. I applaud those guys being able to do that. And then obviously having Coach Rosie, Coach Miles, and Coach Carlos doing an excellent job in our strength program. It's definitely second to none, not only with what they are teaching, but how they do it. And I couldn't say that different about anybody else either. It's not everybody runs cover 3, everybody runs man-to-man or blitzes or not, or runs inside zone or power, but it's how you do it that means so much. And then lastly, Sarah Shippey and Colin Muth are 2 athletic trainers that, they're so flexible, being able to change from a drop of a hat from going inside to outside to Crane Youngworth. Here's our schedule for all fall camp, and I pretty much just hand it to them, and they're like, all right, sounds good. And, they're just like GA's got to make sure our guys are prepped for lifting. So if we have lifting at 6, well, they better be in at 5 a.m. to make sure our guys are able to get the heat or get the stem and stuff like that to be able to get the workout done. And then if we end practice at 6, well, they have to be out of the cafeteria by 7 because that's when it closes. So they can't give them treatment after that. They got to stick around after and be able to give them the treatment there. So a lot of people that sacrifice a lot for our program. And like I said, just lucky to be able to work with those people because it makes me a better person as well.
And what about game day? Who's in charge of what on game day when you're on the road?
Oh, the game day travel. Well, luckily I had a lot of experience doing that at one time. But Coach Zook and Coach Sorensen were the ones that kind of aligned that. Now we have a lot of help from Cindy Solar, our assistant AD. She helps us get the buses and do that stuff for the actual travel. Coach Zook does more of the time management stuff. Okay, this is how much time we have to be able to do things. And then Coach Sorensen will do more of the meals and organizing that part. And then I've tried to add in, like last year, we stopped at Gilbert High School, the home of Trey Hansen, and the Hansen family was able to make us a nice meal and all that stuff. So some of that odds and ends stuff I'll help out with, but it's breaking down each little thing, and then being able to tie that all together is very important.
So we're starting to get up against it with time. So let's go ahead and move on here and start talking personnel. I want to talk about some of these players here this season. But before we get to it, there's a question mark of eligibility going into next year. And I know you don't know everything about it because it hasn't happened yet. Yep. And I'm curious of what are some of the things about it. Blanket 5th year coming in potentially. Can you just give me what's going on?
Yeah, I think it's I'm for it. I think it's a very smart idea. I think it's great to combat what the NCAA Division I is doing. But there's an option to everybody gets 5 years, and what that means, I don't know yet. And I do hope it goes through, but it would help get rid of red shirts, so that's less paperwork to do, which is a very minor detail. But it allows our guys opportunity to grow, because you guys know we do a JV season. but we have to be strategic with that. We can't do a full JV season because you're going to end up losing guys, obviously with injury, but then you want to retain some guys for a fifth year, like Rugby Riken, who we redshirted his first year. So he only played in one varsity game and one JV game his freshman year to make sure that he kept his year. But if we're able to have a 6, 7, 8 game JV game schedule now, those guys are able to just grasp so much more football, play so much more football, which we've all known it creates better football players and all that. So, and on top of that, the last time I checked, it was 4.5 years now on average to graduate from college. So I don't know if that's because it's more curriculum. I think it's more because people are changing their minds more on majors and things like that. So it allows a little bit more flexible with that part. But I don't know, like I said, if it's going to affect these seniors right now or if it's going to start with the freshman class coming in or anywhere in between. So that'll
or if it doesn't even pass.
Or it doesn't even pass. Yeah, that's a very likable thing or a very possible thing as well. So I know there's a lot of coaches in favor for it. I think, like I said, it'll help a lot of things out. And I don't know. I'll keep you posted with what I hear.
And that's going in this spring is when that vote actually comes in. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get to personnel then this season, Coach. You got to start off with the quarterback, obviously. Rugby Riken, that, as you just mentioned, a redshirt sophomore who came in, had a good year last year, another good year this year, some turnovers late, but overall, can you tell me about his performance and his growth?
Yeah, unbelievable growth, unbelievable player. Just overall competitor is exactly what you want in a quarterback and a leader of your offense. He's the one that he's going to make so many plays that you're just, wow, like I don't know if anybody else can do that. But with that, there's going to be a couple of those bonehead plays, the interception or something like that that's going to happen. So I know that he's his hardest critic, though, and he's going to be the one that's going to be putting in the work this offseason and making those changes, and I expect him to continuously grow as a leader, as a quarterback, and as a competitor.
The receiver position's a lot of question marks because he graduated pretty much everybody except Rodney Broadnax. But obviously Rodney had some injury issues this year. Moshe Richmond came on. What's your overall grade of your receiver core, considering you had so many new faces this year?
Yeah, it's got to be up there in the B+, A- area. Like we had a lot of guys. I knew it was going to be a deep room. One of the deeper rooms that we've had in my time here. It did, like as you mentioned, the injuries hurt us a few times this year. Moshe started off injured, and then Rodney got hurt there in the Northwestern game. But Jackson Walholtz did an excellent job stepping up. He had that 14-catch game against Hastings. Seems to be a sure-handed guy whenever you needed a pass or a reception. Jacob Carbajal, you've seen quite a bit in there. Zone Robinson, you've seen being able to step up and get in there. So a lot of guys were able to step up in those positions, and then you see, looping the tight ends in there as well. James Brinsley, had that one really nice one-handed catch, but does so much of the dirty work as well. He was a guy that snapped for us on our special teams, and continuously. As I mentioned, did the dirty work to make sure that everything kept going.
That Brinsley catch was great. I got to introduce my slow-mo button for the first time on that one. That was so much fun. But anyway, talk about your receiver core. Moshe Richmond, freshman phenom, basically, came in with 708 yards, led you on the season after missing the beginning of the season. But one of the things that people have been kind of talking about with him is you're going to have to be creative this offseason and find new ways to get him open, because now on tape, every team in the GPAC knows, okay, this guy, we got to find a way to double team him every play. You got to get creative now.
Yeah, I don't know. You think about that, and then you look at how he scored some of the touchdowns at the end, and they were double and triple teaming, and it didn't work. I was talking to Coach Lewis. I drove my family back after the game, and Coach Lewis was eating with his family, so I stuck around to give him a ride back so his family didn't have to drive all the way up to Yankton afterwards, and we were talking about some of that stuff, and I was like, that 2-point conversion where Rugby just threw it up, he's like, I know Moshe will go get it. I was like, that was way higher than the upright of the field goal post right there, and he just went up over 3 guys and be able to grab it. So, it's nice having some of that God-given ability to throw to, but if people are going to double and triple team him, that means Rodney's left one-on-one, so it's the nice compliment to have.
Defensively, you had a whole bunch of new faces this year, and some of the faces, again, we've seen like Brock Lubers and Isaac Crownover got playing time, but and of course your cornerbacks in Muhammad and Conley, who really stepped up defensively this year. And it's like, hey, we really are very pleased at this guy's particular performance.
Yeah, Bryson Mitchell is one that sticks out for just being a sophomore. Not being one of those super big defensive linemen. Did a very productive year. I think he ended up being in the top 3 in the GPAC in sacks, which is something that we've struggled at in each of the years that we've had here, is getting after the quarterback, and he kind of helped us lead the charge on that. Obviously, we've talked a lot about DJ Brown being a guy that transferred in and provide a lot of bit of production. But Arthur Oliver is a guy that continuously, whether it was a pick or a fumble recovery for a touchdown or something like that, did a lot of good stuff. And then Cole Cripps, I think, would be the other one. Kind of the quarterback of the defense, the Mike linebacker. He's got to make sure he's mentally in the game, but then vocally as well, being able to get all our checks and all that stuff. So he was a guy that just came in the summer. So didn't have many reps and much camaraderie with the team, but it was a glue guy by the end of it, and it was a guy that kept a lot of guys stuck together.
We got to keep it moving here. We're starting to run out of time, so let's go to off-season recruiting. I know you can't give me names of guys right now, but give me your overall thoughts on how the 2026 class is coming together.
Yeah, it's coming together very nice. I think it's always good to land some of these local kids first. That starts some of the excitement up, and then using our ties elsewhere, whether that's in Iowa or whether that's deeper into Nebraska or even down into Texas. So, we're very excited where this is heading. I think it all starts with our guys up front. As always, those are the toughest guys to get are those O linemen and D linemen. But, how our team is starting to run, and you're starting to see, we talked about Moshe quite a bit. We've talked about Rex Reichen in the past, like, we're slowly starting into a tight end school, so a lot of the tight ends are starting to find Mount Marty as a place for them to go, especially to get exposure. So I love that. I'm all for fullbacks, tight ends. Yeah, like that shows grit, so I love having those type of guys on our team. But yeah, very excited to continuously see how this recruiting class develops.
Any fun trips coming up for you? You going anywhere fun recruiting?
No, I'm sending, Coach Lewis and Coach Zook are out in Iowa right now. I'm sending Coach Wiebelhaus down to Omaha on Wednesday. Coach Ludeman will be going down to Texas on Wednesday. And then we'll spend a little bit of time out in California doing our junior college recruiting as well. But
there you go. That'll be fun.
It's all fun. It's the name of the game. And that's I know I've talked to you guys about this before, but that's what keeps this job so refreshing, is it's constantly changing. We had the season end, and the best thing to do is right now is get into recruiting. And not only is it recruiting new players, but it's recruiting your current players as well. So being able to sit down with each one of our guys over the coming weeks and having a one-on-one conversation with them of what they could be doing better and what I can be doing better as well to make sure their experience is worth it.
So you're not going to be going to Hawaii and just telling the administration it's a work trip and then you're lying on a beach. That's not happening?
I can't do that, no. As many guys as we've landed from Hawaii in the past, I've tried to, come on, can I get a trip out to Hawaii? But no, that hasn't worked yet.
Let's talk, as we finish things up here, I want to talk about you. A little bit of reflection here.
Yeah.
You have now completed your 5th year as the head coach of the Mount Marty Lancers. What do you think you have learned? Where have you improved as a head coach?
Oh, that's a very tough question.
Yeah, it's hard to do self-assessment, but we're going to try.
No, it's constantly learning the people you're dealing with, So, like, obviously it's always college kids. I get it. But those college kids are completely different. Every 4 or 5 years, you're dealing with a different group of people. So learning how to get those guys to how their brains work, what motivates them. We're dealing with a lot of people that have their heads down in phones most of the days now. So, and just saying words and saying things aren't always going to grasp with those guys. So finding different ways to get those guys locked in, to get them motivated, to get them inspired to take on the next task. But we continuously try to stay process-driven. Not looking too much on the outcomes, because those outcomes really don't tell you too much. Just it's what you need to be able to work on moving forward. So I think being showing the biggest thing I've done is being able to make sure I show appreciation. That probably even comes from my wife, making sure that I start that at home and show appreciation to her and the kiddos for all that they do, but even the staff and the players, because college isn't easy alone, just being a college student, and then you add athletics on top of that and all we ask. And then all the outside drama and crazy life, crazy world we live in, so making sure that they all embrace where their feet are. And that starts with me as well, making sure that I come in excited every day and ready to work. So, like I said, just very, very grateful for where I'm at and the people around me.
Coach, you're going to enjoy some time with the kids at home now a little bit more that you got some free time, quote unquote free time?
Yeah. Yesterday, the kids been waiting for this day for a while or for yesterday's day. And obviously I was like, well, we got to sit down and watch the Bears game, first of all.
Finally get to do that.
Yeah, so we got to do that. And then it was all about hanging Christmas lights up all day yesterday. So,
my goodness, Thanksgiving isn't even. Well, everybody's doing it. Let's face it.
And I was looking at the weather, and I was like, I better do this while it's nice. I don't want to be up there slipping off the roof or anything like that. So
there's that.
We got a couple things planned for some fun trips. I want to take them to a hockey game and things like that because it's always good to stay involved in sports and showing. And like I said, I'm biased obviously because I work it, but team sports teach you so much about how to handle life and. Obviously, that's my profession, but I want to make sure that those my young ones see that and embrace it.
Well, that's about going to do it time-wise for us here today. We're going to have to shut this down. But, Coach, want to thank you one last time here this season. You never failed to come talk with us pregame, postgame for interviews like this, and we certainly appreciate that. Thank you very much for your time today, all season long. You have anything to leave us with here, Steve, as well?
Well, again, season 5, I know it didn't turn out the way we wanted considering the hot start, but I tell you what, considering all the question marks coming into this year, considering it's the toughest conference top to bottom in the country, I think it still was a successful campaign, and you got a lot of positive building blocks for future years.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you saying that, and really want to thank you guys because you guys are the bridge between us and our families, even my family's alone, that's how they're able to follow us. I'm not the best at always calling them and stuff like that, so them being able to hear your voice and hearing you guys be able to talk about our team, and I know that goes for our players as well, especially the ones from far away. So really appreciate all you guys do, and I got a lot of love for you guys.
Thank you, Coach.
That's about going to do it for us today. Thank you to Steve Toom and John Michaletti both for coming in and talking with us. We're going to take one final break and wrap things up. You're listening to the Lancer Locker on KYNT.
Long day, good day, either way, Yankton Pizza Ranch makes it easy. Our buffet is always ready with fresh pizzas, mouth-watering desserts, and the country's best chicken. No waiting, no stress, just grab a plate and enjoy. So when you need comfort made simple, make today a buffet day at Yankton Pizza Ranch. Buffet every day from 11 to 8.
It's where life tastes better. Surround them up and head her down to the Pizza Ranch. Whoa, that's good.
Parker of Yankton is powering progress, and you can be part of it. We're adding 2 new production lines and expanding our team with a product and a mechanical engineer, plus material handlers, line techs, and assemblers for both shifts. We offer paid vacation, medical, dental, vision, and life insurance. Enjoy quarterly profit sharing, 5% 401k match, and a fully paid retirement income account. Join a company where innovation meets opportunity, right here in Yankton. Be part of something bigger. Apply now at parker.com/careers.
Parker, engineering your success.
Big changes are happening at Lewis & Clark Ford in Yankton. Come meet our new finance manager, new sales manager, and our all-new sales team, bringing fresh energy and hometown service.
During our year-end sale, get top dollar for your trade, plus an extra $1,000, and enjoy 0% APR for 3 years on select Ford models with approved credit.
Don't wait. These deals won't last. At Lewis & Clark Ford, the deals you want, the Fords you love.
Visit us online at lewisandclarkford.com or stop in at 4th and Capitol.
In nearly every family's lineage, there's a tie to agriculture. It's a legacy reflected in how we raise our kids, help our neighbors, and respect what we have. Farmers Union Insurance was built on that legacy. And while our roots are in agriculture, our protection has grown to include home, auto, business, health, and life. Protect your legacy. Farmers Union Insurance.
Call Brendan Hansen and Brandon Tykrow or visit them at Suite 101B Morgan Square in Yankton.
Busch Light, the perfect companion for hunting season. Because let's be honest, the stories, the laughs, and that first cold sip are half the reason you head out before sunrise. Whether you bag a trophy or just some good memories, make sure there's a Busch Light waiting at the end of the day. It's the beer that fits right in with early mornings, muddy boots, and tall tales of the ones that got away. Busch Light, brewed for hunters and storytellers.
All right, back here in the Lancer Locker for the final time today as we wrap up our show. John Michaletti, thank you to him, as well as Steve Toom for coming in and talking with us earlier today. That interview took place. Back in the booth now on this Monday night. Take a look ahead as football season is done, so we got basketball coming up, and 2 basketball games are coming up this week. Actually 4, because they're both double headers. Wednesday night, Fremont, Nebraska is the host site. Midland University, the opponent. I will be there with coverage of that one right here on KYNT and KYNT-V audio simulcast as well, radio only down in Fremont. 5:15 pregame, 6 o'clock will be the tip-off. On Saturday, it'll be Morningside, 2 o'clock in Sioux City. 1:15 pregame, 2 o'clock tip in Sioux City versus Morningside. Those are the 4 games coming up. Both of those men's, women's doubleheaders. Women first at those times, and then men to follow. That's going to do it for the Lancer Locker today and then put a wrap on football season. It was another good year. We certainly made our strides trying to improve our coverage, adding replay this year. My slow-mo button, I enjoyed my slow-mo button. It's my new favorite button. I'll try not to overuse it for basketball season, but no promises. Thank you for listening to the Lancer Locker here on KYNT. It's been one heck of a night. We'll see y'all on Wednesday down in Fremont, Nebraska. I've been Tel Tanner. You've been listening to the Lancer Locker. This is 102.1 FM, AM 1450, KYNT.